I want a Lamborghini, but will I ever have a Lamborghini?
Yeah.
No, I don't really want a Lamborghini.
Right.
I do not want a Lamborghini.
You're not getting a Lamborghini. I'm different now. I've learned how to say.
He's learned how to tune me out.
I'll go, am I supposed to be listening to this? Like while she's talking, she'll just be saying stuff, and I'm like, I'm not listening. This is not something you're telling me to listen to, right? You just talking.
Yes.
Right? And then she goes, yeah, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm not listening. Go ahead, keep going.
Welcome to Couples Unfiltered, a podcast where we discuss love, loss, relationships, and the journey. I'm Lionel Salisbury.
And I'm Natalie Galley Salisbury. We must first start out by saying that we're not licensed therapists, and anything we say here is based on our own experiences and our own opinions.
Today, we're happy to have a couple that's been married for 13 years. They're from California and they have 4 kids. They say relationships are scary, but very necessary. They share their love of struggles and ask, how married are you? If you're listening, you're in the wedding party. They perform every Tuesday and Thursday.
Shawty.
You did it backwards.
Yeah, I did it backwards.
Shawty.
It's okay if you want to put your hands up. Today, we have the questions and they have the answers. We want to say that we're excited to have Glen and Yvette Henry, better known as Belief, and Miss Melanin. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really
I was trying to get it and stuff.
No, that was awesome.
I was trying not to rap it.
Yeah. I can hear you. I was like, man, he better finna catch that beat real quick.
And he threw me off because he was supposed to, he just switched it.
Yeah,
and I was
I know.
like, dang it, I missed my cue.
I love it. I love it. I had your back though.
Oh my goodness.
So this fantastic couple, if you are not aware of who they are, you are missing out. They have a variety of things that they do, but one of the main things that when we're talking about is their podcast, How Married Are You? And we want to talk to them and ask them about their journey, how they met and how they became who they are.
Yeah, you guys have the most unique podcast. You guys, talk in the most genuine way and bring your kids unapologetically into all your conversations. They poke their heads in and life just happens behind you. And it's great because you guys are showing, real life and what families look like and helping other families across the globe figure it out too and see that there's normal people out there that have real problems like us and they talk about it and it's very healing. I think it's very healing for others. So
I agree.
we appreciate that you guys are doing what you're doing. Creating a community.
Yeah.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I don't know. It's just, for us, it's special to see other people doing what we do and being able to collaborate. You know what I mean? So thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah.
And we're excited for the conversation today, for sure.
Well, we are hopefully creating examples, couple examples. And you talk a lot about having mentors. And we believe everyone needs a couple mentor, young and old. Doesn't have to be somebody who's more experienced. We all need people to bounce off of each other, in relationships especially. Because depending on where we came from, we didn't have that example, right?
Absolutely.
I had a lot of examples, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they were the ones that I should have been learning anything from. So
Definitely not good examples
Yeah.
for me as well. Some, but not all.
yeah.
So let's get started. Evette, I want to start with you, and can you tell us about your dynamics of growing up? Where are you from? How did you grow up? And who were you before you met Glen?
Who knows who I was? I grew up in Oceanside, California. My parents are from the East Coast, South Carolina. My dad was in the military, which is how we got out here. So I was born and raised here in Oceanside. He left the military while we were here, so I never left. And then I married somebody from Baltimore, so I really never left. But maybe we'll leave soon. I don't know. Anyway.
I already told y'all what was going to happen. I prepped y'all.
That was on topic.
Go ahead.
Anywho, I grew up, I don't know, I'd say I was a church girl, very square. Went to school, got good grades. I have 2 brothers, one younger, one older, so I'm a middle child. I'm one of those who kind of like watches my surroundings and then adjusts accordingly. So I was definitely a people pleaser, and I knew how to make my parents happy and make everybody proud, you know? So I feel like for a huge portion of my life, I have lived it such that I'm trying to, I don't know, be, what's the word I'm looking for?
A people pleaser?
I guess people pleaser is the word, but I do think that a lot of my efforts were genuine to what I wanted to achieve and do as well. So I don't know. I went here. I got really good grades. Graduated. Went to college. Got my degree. I was very like I wanted to be a high school math teacher, and I wanted to be the ASB director at whatever school that I teach at, and I literally did everything to get there. Did that. Before I did that, I married this guy, fresh out of college, getting my teaching credential, and then I got pregnant with my third daughter and decided that I was not going to continue in the classroom, and then I became a stay-at-home mom. And before Glenn, who was I?
You were very accomplished.
You reached all of the goals.
Yeah, you did everything you said you were going to do.
Yeah, I think before Glenn, I took less risks. And after Glenn, things got very creative and risky, I think.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I would say that.
I was going to say that too. That's good word.
I knew what I wanted to do, what it took to get there, and did all the things. And I probably would have been in the classroom for, I don't know, like ever. I had ambitions to become an administrative in the education field, and so I probably would still be there. But now I can't see myself going back.
Yeah, that's what happens when you leave for too long.
Yeah.
Was your mom a working mom?
My mom, she was a working mom, but she was a very present mom. So my mom, she was like the church secretary. She worked in the school district. She had her own daycare at the house for a while. So she was always, like, her schedule always kind of aligned with ours. There were seasons when she would work up 2 jobs. So there would be like afternoons where she'd go work her second job. But she was not a stay-at-home mom, but she was a very present mom.
Yeah. And you grew up Catholic?
No. Baptist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you went to Catholic school or something.
I went to a Nazarene. I went to Point Loma Nazarene University, which, yeah, they are very strong Nazarenes there.
Okay.
But it's very welcoming to the Christian community.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, Glenn, how about you? Or belief?
Yeah, Glenn.
Glenn is fine. Okay. Glenn is fine. So, yeah, I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. My dad moved to California when I was like 2. So my parents had joint custody. So I would be in Baltimore for the school year, and then summertime I'd be here at Cali. And it was, a very interesting dynamic. Obviously being raised by a single mother on one side, who actually did teach me how to put on lotion, and I apologize to the black community.
You should have asked. Hey, we got some. You should have asked.
Zeke, Michelle, anybody back there with lotion, just toss a bottle right through this door. I'll be
Don't
very
zoom in on the
appreciative,
hand.
you know what I'm saying? If you ask, you too, shame on you. But my mom did teach me how to put on lotion and all that. But I grew up there, really, and a lot of like my cultural understanding and life lessons were learned from anybody who would teach me. My dad was here. I didn't have him on a daily. So it was kind of, difficult to cram in fatherhood all in one summer and then go and then experience motherhood all throughout the year. And so I guess I never wanted to be married or be a father, right? Until I saw proof of good fatherhood, right? People who really wanted to be there, you know what I'm saying? Not to say my father or my mother didn't, but it's definitely hard to see that from your parents when you're a child, right? And things are hard. So, I grew up I guess I was very legalistic. I got saved. I started walking with the Lord in 2005. Moved out to Cali for officially when I was 19. And then I started walking with the Lord, and then just really going hard for Jesus, like in every way possible. Started like rapping, MCing, traveling around the country, DJing, doing poetry, just kind of exploring my creativity. And then when I met Evette, I just was really trying to be whoever she needed to be. I think was like trying to be like a supportive husband because she was like the breadwinner and had a plan, and I did not. And then at some point in our marriage, she asked me what my plan was, and I didn't have one, and she kind of exposed the fact that I didn't have a plan. And like that was like year 5, maybe. No. Yeah, it was about year 5, 2015 May, and she. And I figured it out. Like I just was like, okay, well, my plan is to tell other people how great it is to be a father. And that was it. And then through that, we birthed the platform, How Married Are You? So I guess before Evette, I was aimless, but wherever I was going and attached to, I was like loyal. You know? So yeah, that's what I was.
Nice.
Well, tell us your account of the first time you guys met.
Oh man, the first time, was it Stomp the Greek or was it the poetry joint?
Stomp the Greek.
It was Stomp the Greek. So she had she was a part of the BSU at PLNU. And I was like the DJ, like kind of like the resident BSU DJ.
BSU, for anyone watching who doesn't know, is Black Student Union.
Yeah, Black Student Union. So we go, I go there and I'm like setting up all my stuff and I'm meeting like the people and, you know, getting stuff ready. And it's not a black university, but it was like, let's be black today. That's what it seemed like.
DJ Day was Black Day?
It was like they had like a
It was
Greek
a Black Student Union trying to embrace our culture on our campus and expose our...
I remember that.
So they had a bunch of fraternities and sororities
BSU.
come there to like do steps and stuff like that. And I was DJing the event. And Evette kind of was like just hanging around, like, oh, can I take a picture with your turntables? And da-da-da. Like it was not flirty at all. She was just looking for a photo op.
She was for the ASB?
No, just for Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Just for her own album. And she was like, you know, Eric. You know what I'm saying? And then like, yeah. And so that was kind of it. And then like after that event, she helped me take my stuff, like all my equipment, to my car.
Oh, how nice of you.
Yeah, and then, you know, DJ stuff back then, it was like 2 turntables and a mixer. Like, it was a lot. It was heavy.
Crates and everything.
Yeah, so she helped me take that stuff there, and it was like the first time. I was like, oh, she's very like hospitable. You know, so that was really it. That was the first time I met her. And then, like, again, I saw her at another event, and then this is when I was like, oh, she's like, I think I like this girl, right? So I'm trying to get her information. So I had a MySpace, right? So I'm like, you know, like, hey, you want MySpace? Let me, you know, get your MySpace or whatever. And she was like, nah, I have Facebook. And I was like, oh. So then I had like shut down my Facebook because I wasn't in school, but I still had my college ID. Remember you used to have a college ID in order to be on Facebook. You couldn't be on Facebook without
I didn't
college.
know that.
Yeah, that was how it first was started for you youngins out there. So I went back and I got her information or whatever, and I got a Facebook that night, and I messaged her and I was trying to talk to her, and she was oblivious.
So I was also, I think I left this part of my childhood out. I was very like churched and sheltered. Like I was a good Christian girl. I noticed boys, but never like dated anybody. And was just completely oblivious. It was in college when I think I really started to...
I say by the church's standards, she was good. Not to say you weren't good, but you know what I mean? Like it's kind of...
Innocent.
Yes.
Innocent,
Yeah, so it's interesting now because when we first started actually dating, he was like, I tried to get at you like back in whatever that year was. And I was like, really?
Yeah. How did that happen?
And then we opened up the messages and I was like, oh my goodness, I was completely oblivious to what was happening. I was just nice.
Yeah, but I'm like, you know, that's like, for me, I'm like, you can't be naive in those situations, you know, so you gotta be like, situational awareness, you gotta know what's happening, you know what I mean? So, she had no clue, and like, I think recently she's just been like, oh, I really be needing to think a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I feel that though, because I like to think that people's intentions are good.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to have them make me think the opposite before I, you know.
Assume, yeah.
But I've had to learn to prejudge negative first and just wait for it and be a little more cautious. Because once I get there, then it's hard for me to go back. Like once you've done something that's not good, then I have to talk myself out of any different thought process. But
Exactly.
Well, tell us your account of the first time you fell in love. Well, not the first time you fell in
Well,
love.
the
'cause I'm
first time,
Well, it
yes,
was,
yes, yes. So, I think that the first time I noticed Glen really was at that poetry event. He was always the DJ, but at that event, he had an opportunity to spit a poem. I'm not really sure why you chose to do that.
I was a poet.
Yeah.
God was saying, hey, you're trying to impress this girl. It's
I was
down
trying to
there. I
impress who was
see this
there.
girl.
Whoever was there who was paying attention, I was like, hey, I'm out here.
Yeah, so anyway, he got up and he said this poem, and he started describing this woman that he was looking for. And it was interesting because I was like, wow, if that ain't me, I don't know who that is. And I remember the BSU president at the time, she was a good friend of mine. She was actually a bridesmaid in our wedding. I was like, he's like describing me. And that was kind of the first time that I was like, oh, who is this guy? Like, whatever. But even still, even still, there was nothing there. And my godbrother actually ended up a couple years later, or maybe a year later, I don't know, sometime later, needed a DJ for his wedding. And his dad was getting him, like, his dad was a principal at a local high school, and he was getting, like, all the high school DJs or whatever. And I was like, well, I know somebody. And so I referred them to Glen. And then I think they wanted me to be there as, like, a third party or whatever. And so all four of us met. They got to know Glen. And then after that, Glen just wouldn't leave me alone.
It's not true.
Latched on.
You let her tell her side of the story. I let her go ahead and say that. That's fine.
I'm just kidding. Glen kept inviting me to hang out with him and his friends. And at this point, I was back home because he was living in Oceanside at the time. And come to find out, our dads worked together.
Yeah.
Too. So that was kind of random.
Yeah.
And my dad had actually met Glen before I met Glen, which was even crazier.
Yeah.
And so, anywho, Glen kept inviting me out with his friends, and I was like, yo, I'm not going to go hang out with you and your friends when I barely know you. Like, I don't feel I don't want to be in an uncomfortable position. And so he claims that I asked him out on a date, but I was just saying, I don't know you like that, and so I'm not going to go be with you, a stranger, and other strangers. And so then he invited me out.
Yeah.
After that, he invited me to coffee.
Okay. And that was your first actual date? That you didn't
Would you
ask
call
him
that
on?
a date?
I would say so.
Okay.
Because it was just one-on-one. That was the
Guys,
first
It was
time you were
one-on-one.
It was the
one-on-one.
ghetto date though. Like I had no money. I had $5 on a Starbucks card. Like it was tough.
What year was this?
This was 2005. I was.
No, it was not. I graduated
sorry.
high school in 2009.
This is 2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I was teaching tutoring after school program. So my stipend was like $500 a month, and it was like right after the recession. So it was like really hard to get work, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I took her out. I had $5, and I was like praying she didn't order anything expensive. You know what I'm saying? She got herself
That
a
was real
thing,
risky.
a drink. I got myself a water, and we went to the pier and we walked on the pier, and that was it.
No, that was it.
That was all we did.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that was it. I was in, all in.
I don't know if we were all in, but it was like significant time, like very cautious. Like it was a very logical process. It wasn't like we were like, and I just want you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like, hey, I think we are like liking each other. Am I correct on
Yeah.
this? And she's like, yes, you are. Your assumptions are right. I'm like, okay, well, let's see what this goes, right?
Did you feel like she was different than other girls you had dated?
Oh, absolutely.
So would you say you were nervous? Like, I'm intimidated a little bit?
I don't know. I think the more I got to know her and I got to know her people, that's when I started to get nervous. I got to meet her family and like where she came from, and I was like, oh, these are like accomplished black people. Like,
Okay.
these ain't the regular people I'm used to kicking with. They have like,
Got
events.
you. So you probably, I mean, if I would think correctly, then you were like, okay, I need to be like on my game. Like I need to come with like try at least a little harder to impress?
I don't know if I'm that guy.
But did you question that you should or not? Like, I mean,
I was already in my mind very impressive.
okay.
I was very confident. Like I was so solid in Jesus.
Well, you have
Baltimore,
to,
so
I
you
guess,
gotta-
with all the
it was
DJing and all that.
ridiculous. But like you take that and you take it like what I do, like what I do in the community and how I was serving the youth and all that stuff. I was very confident that I was
Okay.
leading a
Well,
lot of
look at
young men.
you. Good.
So I wasn't concerned whether or not like
They
I
would
would tell all
accept
the
you.
time, like, look, like if this don't work out, God got something better for me and
Oh,
He
You
would
know.
tell me that all the time.
wow. So was that attractive to you?
Not at all.
you. Nah.
You were like, oh, well, I think I'm attracted to that. Because you don't have daddy issues.
Oh.
If you have daddy issues, that might be attractive.
No.
She has many daddy issues.
Yeah, I have that.
But,
But not those daddy
Yeah.
issues.
yeah.
Yeah, no. He would say that and it would make me think like, well, dang, go find somebody else then. Go get you somebody else. It didn't make me want him more. Not at all.
But you weren't trying to make her feel that way. You were just
No,
that
I
way.
just wanted her to know that, like, I have the faith that I'm going to be fine and you're going
Yeah.
to be fine. Like, we
Okay.
don't have to be, like, toxically in love with each other and won't let each other win. Like, it was just like, you know, I know my God and I know he's got both of us. You know what I mean?
That is such a strong message that people need to understand. It's as if you came into the relationship whole already. You weren't seeking somebody to fill any void. You knew
Right.
who you were, and this is me. I'm coming as a complete individual. Take me as I am,
Right.
or I'll see you later.
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy about that? It's like over time, once you like get, like you come together, so much of you breaks apart and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get whole again? So we spend like our time like trying to put the pieces back together over time because there is something that happens when you come into close proximity with someone who sees all of you and they're kind of like, do you know you do this? Or like, are you aware of this right here?
Yeah, the mirror.
Yeah, it's like sacred like process, you know?
Yeah, we had to learn that too with, being married. I was married for 26 years before I met him, and he was married for 22 years. And being together, that's a whole new mirror. I'm not the same age. I'm older. I don't see myself the same way I saw myself before. So for someone else at that age to see me the way they see me now is so weird, because it's like he would say things about the way I am or that I shouldn't think the way I do. And I'm like, that's so foreign to me to even think in his perspective. Like he's the type of person, well, what he does anyway. If just say I forgot something and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm so stupid, I forgot to do this. And he's like, hey, don't call my wife stupid. And I'm like, oh, that's me. Or if I say, oh, I feel fat and I don't want to wear this, he's like, stop calling my wife fat. Like, don't talk that way to my wife.
Yeah.
And I forget. I'm like, oh, I gotta look in the mirror and remember that, like, I wouldn't let anybody talk to me like that.
Yeah.
So why do I let me talk to me like that? So I need somebody to check me, my mirror.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I mean, you really keep me on track. There's some things that, I get focused. I just graduated from UCLA.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That's dope.
And once we got finished, we both came home and we were getting ready for bed and we were laying in the bed and she said, okay, I need you to take a break. And it's like, but I need to do this. And she's like, no, I need you to take a break. We do work for the city. We volunteer. There's so many things that we do. But for somebody to tell me, this is what I see in you, slow it down. Give it some time.
Because sometimes we're always on that road to, what's next. You finish one thing, you really don't give yourself credit for what you just went through, and you just start something new so that you can conquer that new thing, and you're not living in the moment of the success of what you just completed, right? So it's like, let's just kind of look back, look around, and let's see what life is going to bring now that you've successfully completed that journey that was very stressful, and a lot of hard work you put into that. But your family also put hard work into that because you were not there and your mind was distracted, right? So it's like, let's get back to center in between those little pauses. Let's have a pause. Let's get back to center. Let's reevaluate. Let's reset. and then we can move on to the next thing together, or, you know, I'll observe and feed you and do the things you need. But speaking of resets, you guys are doing a little reset right now.
It doesn't feel like it, but yes. Yes. They, we moved from Vista to a farm in Hemet, California. And what it was supposed to feel like was like, all right, we can't get to no no fast food, so we got to eat clean. We're gonna be outside because it's a lot of space, and it's not a whole bunch of space inside. And you know, we're just gonna enjoy Mother Earth. You know what I'm saying? And what it feels like is Mother Earth is coming to see us because of all of the like snakes and mice and lizards and coyotes and things that are in dust and the heat.
That's the worst.
You know what I'm saying?
Dust
like
and bugs.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so much. Like nature is such a vast thing. Like it's so huge. And so we have been purposefully like trying to slow down. And we just, you know, our RV should be here today, right? So we're going to go on our first little road trip. But that's the thing. It's like, you know, when we're driving somewhere, we're on a road trip, which is such a theme in families. Like you go somewhere in the car and it's just like you just go, right? And then what are we going to eat? Somebody's got to pee. Something funny happens. It's like the whole time it's like 9 hours of just mess.
Yeah.
And so as we're driving, Yvette's looking out the window and she's like, oh my gosh, we should stop there. Oh, that's a cool, cute place for a picture. And I'm always like, we got to go where we got to go.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, can I watch this? Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just such a symbolism for life that I feel like we do really well when we're on an adventure. And I feel like this part of our life and our story is about adventure. Yeah. And so it's hard to see the sweetness in it, right? But even when we were in our first place together, like where Belief in Fatherhood was born, off of Copper over here, we look back on those memories and it just feels like the house was bigger and the kids, like we missed them at that stage. And you know, our kids are growing up fast, you know what I'm saying? And so in order to slow that down, we're going to have to be intentional with our time. And so the RV is definitely the reset button that we, you know, have decided to push.
Yeah.
And so we're actually looking for like our next place, like where are we going to live, where are we going to grow, you know, this next season of life. So we'll be on the hunt for some places for sure.
Well, you guys are in a smaller house, so it's kind of prepping you for the RV size anyway. You guys that already know how to kind of manage.
Well, we've done an RV trip with all 4 kids before, like a couple years ago, and it was a much smaller RV. However, this time we're taking the dog, so that'll be an experience, I'm sure, in and of itself. But yeah.
Now your dog is, how old is your dog?
2.
Oh, okay.
She'll be 3 in October.
Okay. So she's got October birthday. What day was she born?
I know. We're October babies.
She was born on the 4th.
Oh, okay.
4th of October, yeah.
So she's a Libra.
Yeah. We're Scorpios. All right. Now, I know we talked about it a little bit before we started, but the podcast, How Married Are You? Now, how does that help your communication as a couple? You guys are working together, you're on a podcast together, you're answering questions together, but what does it do for you all as a couple?
Is there any like episode that really stuck with you where you guys like talk afterwards about it?
They're unpublished episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like the podcast has definitely opened us up to communicate more. Did we start couples therapy after? Yeah. I think that, I don't know. I feel like it's opened up our lines of communication more. Glenn says I was a mute before, but I didn't realize that.
Did you figure out in therapy a little bit why is that how you discovered that that's your personality, about staying quiet and watching, observing?
I think that my people-pleasing personality piece realized that my Like, just don't say. Just kind of whatever. But I feel like, I don't know if that's really true of our marriage, because I do believe there are times when I would speak up
I'm like,
and wish that I didn't, you know?
I did not want you to say
So I feel like couples therapy helped us learn how to communicate in a more efficient and effective way that actually took us somewhere versus like halting things. But the podcast opened us up to even just kind of, I don't know, get to know each other's thoughts and feelings a little bit deeper.
Opinions on somebody else's problems, and then you look at each other like...
We haven't always done emails.
Yeah, we used to just talk about us.
Those emails are fairly new to the podcast, to the life of... I don't know how long we've been doing the podcast now. Anaya is 7.
It was before she was born.
So at least 7 years.
Okay.
But we didn't, for the beginning of it, we would just do topics. And so it would really be something that, I saw this on Instagram, let's talk about it. Or I saw, know, type of thing. Even then, though, I don't know if I was as vocal as I could have been.
No, I think, excuse me, I think you do a great job communicating, because I feel like the people pleasing was a part of it. Like, you don't want to let the people down who watch. So she would just answer, because usually Evette would go, I don't know, right? And she'd have thoughts, but she wouldn't really know how to say her thoughts because she's a writer. So she's a journalist. So she likes to sit and write a lot. So I'd be like, I give her this huge analogy and be like, yeah, you understand what I'm saying? And she'd be like, I think so. And then, like, in order for me to get a response from her, it might take, excuse me, it might take like 3 days, 4 days of her just like thinking about it, and then she'd rather give it to me. Yeah, she has to process.
Or I have been known to write letters and read them to the person.
Yeah,
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm much better written. I feel like, especially with us, Glen is such a good communicator. He's a lyricist. He has a way with words. He can create 10 different analogies for one point he's trying to make. And me, it whelms me. And I'm like, hold on. He'll keep going analogy after analogy until I grasp one. You know? And so I appreciate that. However, I'm not that way. I have to sit with my thoughts and my words. And with him, I've learned that I can't get my words back. So when I speak, I need to really know what I'm trying to say or communicate in a way that doesn't stay with him. Because I'll be hearing about it for a long time, and I'm like, I didn't mean that. I meant this, you know. So I feel like the cautiousness comes from that. It's like he's not one to like, remember when you said on this day at this time? He has it all. He has receipts. That's galore, and I cannot.
He's got receipts. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I
imagine that, having a memory.
Yeah. That's not a memory. That's like a memory on steroids.
It gets locked. Yeah.
No. And y'all got little cardboard boxes full of stuff, right?
Oh,
and you know, they're all organized, and you can just grab it's in that box, and I'm gonna grab this from that box. I'm gonna grab this from that box, and I got cobwebs and darkness and.
Were you raised by your mother?
No. I have both my parents. However, I did spend a great deal of time with my mother.
Okay.
You know, I always joke about growing up on the porch with all the women.
Okay.
While they're snapping peas and I'm sitting there and I'm listening.
Good point.
Or in the kitchen with my mom watching the stories.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why the reason why I asked is because like I've been trained by my mother to listen to women. I just listen.
Yep.
And so I listen well, and if you tell me to do something, I'm gonna do exactly what you said. Now, if you didn't tell me to do it, I'm not gonna do that because I'm gonna do what you told me to do. You know what I'm saying? So like it's hard for me to just like not accept her words. So it's not that it's not always I'm trying to, but it does feel like receipts because I remember everything. Like,
so you mean your mom taught you how to listen to a woman, but not the complexity of the woman's verbal.
Right. Yeah. Like she didn't teach me how to like infer her thoughts.
Read between the lines.
Right.
I'm saying this, but I mean this. You should know what I mean.
Exactly.
But do you think it's something that your mom intentionally taught you, or do you think by being in a relationship with your mom, that's something you?
Yes, it's a trauma. It's a trauma response.
Yeah.
Like, you say something, I hear what you said.
Because it even got so bad as I don't want to say bad. We this is stuff that came up in therapy, where I would just casually say things like, "Oh man, like I would love to have a personal chef, live in $1 million home." You know, I don't know. These aren't the type necessarily.
Say the rest. Say all that.
See, he remembers exactly what.
Yeah, you're like, I don't remember. What did I say?
I'm just trying to indicate that I said something to the tune of this.
Yes.
Right, and he, as my husband and the guy who thinks he has to make my world be what it needs to be, was really internalizing that. And I'm just so flippant, like, you know, whatever, that he was really, like, taking notes and, like, okay, I have to make this happen for her. I have to make that happen for her. I have to do this. I have to do that. And so that even became a strain on our marriage because I wasn't being literal. Like, I understand you're not going to be able to give me the world. But these are, like, there are realistic things that I'm working towards. And there's other things that's like, oh, I want that. Like, I want a Lamborghini, but will I ever have a Lamborghini?
Yeah.
No, I don't really want a Lamborghini.
Right.
I do not want a Lamborghini.
You're not getting a Lamborghini. I'm different now, though.
Yes,
You've learned how to interpret.
I've learned how to say.
He's learned how to tune me out.
I'll go, am I supposed to be listening to this? Like, while she's talking, she'll just be saying stuff, and I'm like, I'm not listening. This is not something you're telling me to listen to, right? You just talking.
Yes.
Right? And then she goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not listening. Go ahead. Keep going.
Wow.
It's
That's
hard
interesting.
sometimes. I know that. I know that because it's, you want to, I mean, I understand how you grew up, and I remember how I grew up. You know, we grew up and it was rough. From Youngstown, Ohio, it was tough. So when you feel like you can give the world, you want to give the world. And we do that with our children, but definitely with our spouses, the ones that we so love. Yeah. And when we hear it, it's like, oh, you're going to get that. You said you want the moon? Got you. Elon, hi.
Yeah.
My name
How
is
do we
Lionel
make this thing
Salisbury.
happen?
And I think the hard part was, you know, I felt it was a demand or a request for her. Like, hey, I want this. You know what I mean? Just so you know, while you're working, aim here too. And at this time, I was like feeling like, you know what are you going to do to get that? That's how I responded. Because I felt like, and she was like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? I was like, no, what are you going to do to help us get what you want? Because I don't want no chef. Like, she's like, what is going on with you? And I'm thinking I'm like, no, I really need your help here. Because at the time, like, I think we had maybe, Uzi was like 1 or something like that.
Was he born?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were in the new house.
Yeah, and I was like, well, you know, I felt the pressure of like having to be this for this person, that for that, like, and then be a dad and then be a husband. It's just so much. And I was just like, well, what are you going to do? And we got into a big argument. But the podcast really does, in the beginning, we used to have so many arguments afterwards. Like, we'd end and it'd just be bad. And I used to hate doing it because we weren't, I don't know, it just seemed like it was like you can tell the immaturity in the speech in the early episodes. Maybe the first 100 episodes was just like, this don't feel good. Like, it just was rough. People still go back and listen to that crap, though.
And it's really sweet, too, because I feel like our wedding party is very loyal. And people who've been listening have been listening all 7 years. And they're like, it's really awesome to see where you guys have come, how much you've grown.
Yeah, the growth is really, really great for you guys to really look back and look at yourselves too when you have time to go back and look at all those episodes. But I know, but you think you know how you felt, but it's like maybe it'll make you feel better about the growth. You could see it. You guys have to see it too. I mean, I know you see it.
Maybe I'll try.
One day.
That sounds traumatizing.
Yeah.
I mean, because you guys have been together 13 years.
14 years.
14 years in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
No, not even. Next week.
When is it?
It's the week after. Wait.
August 7th.
Yes, next week.
Yeah.
Man, that's
and
crazy.
literally a week.
That's next week.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Now you got to change the intro.
It's just it's same syllable, so it'll work.
Even switching, because I remember there was
from 12 to 13 was hard.
Yeah, that was a hard. I could do it, but I was just like, I don't know how to make it flow right.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get to the 20s, you're going to change the whole thing.
Oh man.
Because the teen's going to go away.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man.
Speaking of teens,
What?
are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
Oh, teenage years?
What teenage years?
The boys.
Oh.
Coming.
I'm actually really excited for it. I'm getting together like a little rite of passage ceremony situation for the boys. We've been having a lot of great discussion about, like how their bodies work. Just so many good discussions about, and I feel like I can talk to them about anything and teach them anything. I feel very honored, to help usher them through these times. And the reason why the RV was so important was because we wanted to like slow that down, because I was talking to a friend of mine and he was like, he sold his RV and I'm like, why are you selling it? It's so beautiful. Like, what are you doing? He was like, well, I can't get my kids to go anywhere. They're 15 and 17. They won't go anywhere with me. And I'm like, well, now that Theo's 11, right? He's the oldest. I'm going to force them to go. And then,
They don't have a choice.
you don't have a choice. We're going to make these years amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a risk that like, we're willing to take, just for experience and exposure, getting them to see the country and stuff like that. So,
Well, you still have control over their eyes rolling.
yeah.
Kind of.
They already roll.
They are definitely I've been telling Glenn this since Theo was probably 9 or 10. I was like, he's a preteen. I love the evolution of his relationship with the boys. I love watching what's happening. The boys, I feel like, are finally beginning to get a glimpse of who their father is.
Yeah.
They've been so unaware of like Glenn, like belief, and it's interesting when we're like, do you even know who your dad is?
Yeah.
Because he's a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah,
know.
they discover like rappers and they're like, have you heard of this guy? And I'm like, yeah, and I call him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's weird for them. You know?
Oh, yeah, that's weird. That's weird anyway,
Yeah. But them just like watching sports together or having that like banter, it's really cute to see. I on the other, like, it's for me, it's different. I think like I think it was this week or last week where I was like, oh, Theo will be 18 in 7 years. Like 7 years ago, Anaya was born. Like, I remember that. You know what I'm saying? So it's got me in like this emotional hold up in a minute now. And so I feel like I've become extra I don't know what the word is, but I've become more intentional with my interactions with them because I don't want to lose them ever. Like, even when they're 18, and they probably still gonna be in our house at 18, but they think they're gonna be gone. Especially Theo. He's like, I'm out, because he wants to be a professional hockey player and have this big house, and he just thinks his world's gonna open up so much.
That's good. He's positive like his dad. He already knows who he is. He's going in with these
He is
confidence.
Very much so like this man. But I just want to make sure that we have that connection where they feel comfortable talking to me about things, and that like that bond, that mother-son bond. It isn't an unhealthy, toxic one, but it's more of a healthy,
come to me. I'm here. We have a 13-year-old, and he's our last one.
Okay.
And we were like, we have to do something different with this one because I see what we didn't do. And, you want to please them when they're that age where they give you a little pushback because you just want to give them their space because that's all they want is their space. And it seems like they're not interested in you anymore. But I would pull him close to me and say, one of these days, this eye contact that I'm having with you, you're going to loathe and you're not going to give it to me. But I need you to know, number one, that I will still beat your behind. I don't care how tall you are. We don't hit our kids, but this is a cute little threat. And, but I also want you to know that, like, you're going to change. And no matter how much I don't want you to, you're going to change. And I would tell him that and put it in his head that I don't want him to change, so that when he starts to kind of be a little, walking by coming downstairs, going to the kitchen, going back to his room, and don't look at us and do the things teenagers do, he's going to go, oh, I remember when Mom told me I was going to do that. Maybe I should give her some eye contact. You know, it's like a guilt trip. It's like, I want you to have a little bit of a guilt trip because I want you to know that I love you and I'm going to connect with you and I'm thinking about all of the thoughts you're having. And yeah, it's a trip. It's a trip.
We had a journal going back and forth, my oldest two boys and I, and Theo actually asked me to start that back up.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So I need to do that. I forgot about that, but you just reminded me.
Just with Theo though, because Uriah's got toxic real quick.
You laughed, right? I remember that.
Yeah, Uriah, something happened, and I remember he got upset, and it was like, Mom.
But I still don't mind him.
Oh, you guys said that on the podcast, right?
I don't remember.
He said, Mom's the worst mom ever.
Yeah.
I look at here, I know the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raya is high emotions and feels deeply.
Okay,
strongly.
sensitive, huh?
And I actually don't mind him expressing that to me. It's not good to hear it in whatever, but it is good to be able for him to feel comfortable expressing it so that we can even talk through it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, write him back telling me you're a loser.
Don't talk to my wife that way.
What's wrong with him? You know? Let me get the pen.
No, but I forget who told me. Oh, I remember who told me, Deborah. She's an older woman who's like, she's actually a coach, a mom coach. But she had told me she did that with her sons, and I was like, oh, I'm still in that.
Yeah.
And I think now Theo seems to appreciate it, so I gotta resume that. Remind me.
Okay, I will.
Now I have to give you a little warning. You know, there's been some studies going on right now about young ladies going through puberty a lot earlier nowadays.
Yes.
And some of these 9-year-olds are starting puberty.
Yes.
So I would say that even though you think you have time with the boys, or it's coming short with them, it might be at the same time with your little one.
Yeah. No.
With your daughter.
This is when I check out.
No, I've already noticed some things with her, even the conversation here coming to Vista today. I'm like, oh, shoot. And I'm not going to lie. She intimidates me. She intimidates me deeply. And so there's a lot of...
She's very scary. She's very
She's
scary.
the only
smart,
girl. She's very, strong-willed.
She doesn't care about anything. She does what she wants. And nobody can do anything about it.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like...
She's a leader.
I feel like I have some control, but it's not going to last long. So we got to figure out something.
She sounds like the daughter on Blackish. The twin.
Yeah.
Actually.
Marcy.
Yeah.
Martin.
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is,
A force to be reckoned with, for sure.
Oh,
Well, I have some recommendations of books you can read.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that.
Read or audio, I don't know which one you want, but either way, I could send them over to
Sometimes I
you.
do both.
We all need all the help we can get,
Yeah.
because how we were raised, it's almost like we have to just forget all that.
Let me explain something to you. Let me explain just a scenario, just quick. So if you tell her to do something she doesn't want to do, right? She will do it. She won't want to do it, but sometimes it gets so bad that she'll cry to the point where she'll throw up and then she'll have hives. It's crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I have to care and take you to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Or give you some Benadryl. What is this? Never mind, just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not worth a ticket to the ER, right? So she's a very interesting individual. So I think we have to prep her more. I don't know.
I think she needs more attention, to be honest. I was a middle child, and she's a middle child. And so I kind of can relate to her in that way.
Have you ever considered, I know you're homeschooling your kids, right? And were they ever in public school?
No.
Have you ever considered, between the two of you, discussed that maybe they're all not homeschool kids and maybe one of them might be better off in public school?
Sure, but not from Hemet. So
Okay.
It would be a different place. Yeah, we're open to that, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely open to it.
Yeah, there are kids of our children, there are children we know need to be homeschooled, and there are children we know who could benefit from public school if it's the right school, you know, fit for our family. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're not the rigid, like, we're stuck to this way of just schooling. But we are, this is the season we're in, we're going to homeschool.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. I know when you have so many kids, I mean, we don't have any together, but we've raised a lot of kids. By the time my 13-year-old's out of the house, I've been raising kids for like 39 years.
Wow.
That's not normal. And I don't recommend it. But, yeah, not every one of my kids, like my daughter, would be homeschooled. And she was homeschooled from 10th grade on and was so excited about COVID. Like, oh, I get to stay home. I don't have to go back there and all this stuff, you know. My son absolutely loved it. My little guy wanted to stay home, didn't want to go back when they started it, but he did. He's flexible. The others needed to be in public school. They needed to have that eccentric personality mingling with other personalities, figuring out what other people like and what other people won't tolerate. And, you know, it was just each kid is different, but especially girls, you know, they need to be busy. They always got something to do. Always want to do something, make something, create something.
Anaya.
Yeah, she probably needs crafts.
Yes.
Maybe it's just the way you got to find out how to ask her to do things differently. Make it like it's her idea. You know what I mean? Because she seems strong-minded, so maybe you could create a way to make it so that it's her idea that she's going to do something.
I'll send you a YouTube video. You tell me what I could have did better because.
Oh no, you're not doing anything wrong.
No,
This
because
is her.
like, no, really, I'm really like, just like, I don't know. I don't know with this one. But.
Raising girls are definitely not the same. Raising boys, although I don't know.
Well, as we're coming to a close, what we like to ask all of our guests is, when you got married, did you write your vows? Did you use the traditional vows? And if you did, would you change anything?
We wrote our vows.
Wait, you guys had a 10-year renewal.
We also had a 10-year renewal.
And we wrote our vows for that too.
Did you change anything?
Yes.
I changed everything. I don't remember a lot of what I said, but I think it's so interesting that you make these promises to people you really don't know like that. So like a wedding is like the terrible time like to make a vow to somebody, right? Because it's like, what are you gonna do tomorrow? You know what I mean? I don't even know, right? Like I can pretty much, I know my wife wants to do certain things, right? And I want to help her achieve those things, but when you first get married, it's just such a hope. It's more like a hopeful, you know, like this is something I hope I can do for you. But we wrote our vows. I think I wrote mine the day of the wedding, the first day, the first time.
That sounds so...
So stupid.
No, it sounds so typical of something you would do.
Right.
Like, we did the same thing.
I did not.
Yvette had hers written like well before the wedding.
Me too.
But then the 10-year renewal, I had mine written in advance. And Yvette, I think she made up something on the spot.
There was so much to do at the 10-year renewal. I feel like I had to get all the kids situated because we went away by ourselves, and it was a lot leading up to that moment. And then we were together prior to, so I had an idea of what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
We found that through talking to different couples that one of the things we started to kind of give couples an assignment, you know, and if it applied, but you know, in the beginning you have the vows, and every year on your anniversary maybe you should kind of go through those vows that you said and read through them and say, where are we at with that? And add stuff, change stuff. And then the next year you do the same thing, and how have we done in the last year? And, you know, because our anniversaries, we kind of just, oh, it's the day we got married, let's celebrate it because everybody's expecting us to, and we're supposed to do something, and there's pressure to, you know, acknowledge it, or if you want to, it's, you know, positive, but it's the day you got married, so we should kind of reevaluate every year where we are, and what can we do to, what do we want together to change in the marriage? So yeah, I think that's a, you're now assigned.
I think that's
look
fun.
at your vows.
Especially since our anniversary is next week.
Yeah.
Who knows, we're going to be on a trip then, so I don't even know if we're going to look at them, but that'd be a good idea for sure.
Yeah, just to, you know, add the stuff that is real, you know, like communicate better. Take 10 minutes of side talks of how are you today? Actually, you know, he comes home and it doesn't matter what kind of day he's had, he goes and looks for me and he like kisses me, like not all tonguing me down, but like 6 seconds, you know, and looking in my eyes and hugging me. And it's like, I'm like, oh, you know, like I have to get myself ready for that because I'm not a touchy-feely person, but he is. He's like all over, you know, monkey. But, you know, it's a connection that I forget about sometimes. Like I will now say, oh my God, I don't think you've kissed me today. He's like, oh yeah, I kissed you. You were just asleep, you know, or whatever. But I miss that connection. I miss it if we don't have it every day. So I think it's important.
No, absolutely.
Now I do. I didn't before.
No.
I didn't know. You know.
Yes. So, as fans of How Married Are You?
Yeah.
Of course, we would like to be in your wedding party.
Okay, all right, okay, boom. All right, okay. So this is an opportunity for you guys now to ask each other the question, right? So you ask your wife the question, how married are you? And she asks you the same, right?
Okay.
And then you can tell each other something very, you know, nice that you did or something extravagant that you did recently that just says, you know, this is how married I am. Here's what I'm willing to say.
You start by saying, I'm so married.
I'm so married.
Okay.
Okay. So do I ask him?
You ask him.
Babe,
Yes, love.
how married are you?
I am so married that I wait outside the shower for you to get out with your towel so you can dry off, so you don't have to reach around and grab it.
That is fly.
Wow.
Yes,
That was a really good one.
Yes, it does.
So convenient.
Now you know, there's something in it for him.
Yeah,
because
I
he's
mean,
sitting out there
I
waiting
get the
for
joy
me.
of sitting outside. It's all glass, so.
Yes. Okay.
So, Natalie, how married are you?
I'm so married that I will let you go in the closet and completely pick out my outfit and dress me. And I will not even look in the mirror and just go.
Wow.
Oh, you won't look in the mirror?
If you ask me not to, I won't.
That's a lot of trust. That's a lot of trust. I love that.
Oh.
That is beautiful.
Y'all really married out here.
That's beautiful. Let's do one real quick, babe. How married are you?
No.
How married are you, babe?
No.
All
How
right.
married are you?
I'm so married. This morning, the dog brought a mouse in the house with broken legs and laid it on our living room floor. And I screamed like a girl. I said, babe, go get the camera. And I scooted the mouse outside of the house. Yeah, and that was it. That was what I did. That's a good one.
They said all that and you came up with that?
That was what? Are you kidding me?
That is your job.
But no, the thing was, you were sitting on the couch. You were saying, "Babe, I can't."
I was about to take the laundry basket and put it on top of
Oh yeah, we were freaking out
For
this
the day,
morning.
huh?
Yes. How married are you?
Oh my goodness. I am so married.
You did so much today.
Did I? Okay. I'm so married that today I made you a salad and you were like, are you going to put spinach in it and kale? I was not planning on that. I was just going to use the butterleaf lettuce. But I chopped up all 3 different lettuces so
Thank
you
you
can have
so
a
much.
medley of greens in your salad.
Get that fiber. Thank you.
And that's just how married we are.
We got it.
It's so awesome.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Thank you both so much. We know you're extremely busy. We know you have so much going on, but we greatly appreciate you coming in and just sitting down and having this conversation with us. And it's been amazing. It's great meeting you in person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please
This is
follow
great.
them if you don't know. If I don't know who you are out there that doesn't, but they have a podcast called How Married Are You, and they are all over. You can find them everywhere.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of links to other things that Glen does.
Yeah.
And
We'll add all that.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for
Sure.
having us, man. This was really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, for you all out there, thank you so much for being with us. Again, please check out the website, couplesunfiltered.com. Follow us on Instagram at couples_unfiltered. And wherever you get your podcast.
It's funner on YouTube.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Or Spotify. But thank you all.
Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
And subscribe. You come by yourself, you're wrong. Bring 5 people. Take care.